Most people ruin their stitches before they've even picked up their needle and thread because their creasing and prick marking is not consistent. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to get perfectly clean stitching and creasing on your piece every single time. Welcome back to the video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to cover creasing and stitch marking, because when you are going from your starter leather work to fine leather work, creasing is the biggest thing that changes, and a lot of people don't know how to do it. So today I'm going to show you how, and the reason I'm doing prick marking as well is because your stitches are so intertwined with your crease line. They go hand in hand. These are the exact techniques that I use on my pieces that I sell for thousands of dollars at Treve, Cambridge. I will leave a link in the description below to my Instagram. Go check it out. The small details I'm going to show you are what separate amateur from high-end luxury fine leather goods. I'm going to show you the tools, techniques and common mistakes, and therefore how to avoid them. In very simple terms, creasing is a line made with heat and pressure that runs parallel to the edge. However, that is not all that it is. Creasing applies pressure, so it will seal the edge. It will compress it, because in fine leather goods we want our edge to be as thin as feasibly possible, because it will squeeze those fibers and those layers together. It makes it look so much better. So in order to do this, we need three things, and I'll go over them in more detail in a second. We need a creaser or electric creaser and tip. We need a pricking iron, and we need some form of hitting device: hammer, maul, mallet, piece of wood, whatever you want to hit your pricking iron with, you use that. Wing dividers set the spacing from the edge to the actual pricking iron itself, and then the creaser sets a nice guide for that again. So to go into them in more depth, I use an electric, just because you can set the temperature a hell of a lot more consistently than you can with a manual one, but you can still do the same thing with the manual one. There is two types of creasing. There is heat creasing and there is cold creasing. I don't do any cold creasing because you can't do it on chrome tan leather. If you try to cold crease chrome tan leather, god, that's a tongue twister, it won't stay. You need heat when you're creasing chrome tan. You can do it with veg tan, but I don't use veg tan very often. I prefer the more durable leathers, and they're often chrome tan or double tanned. I use an FN3 creasing tip. Difficult thing for me to be able to give you guys is a temperature cheat sheet. I use a gin and leather electric creaser, which he sent to me, so thank you very much for that. For the majority of the work I do, I use an FN3 and I have it set to number 27 on the dial, so about 2.7 if you're using a or a 3 if you're using a Regard creasing machine. I have a Regard, I use it for my edge painting, but I use my Junlin for my creasing because it's slightly more accurate. For the creaser, there is two sides to it. I was talking to one of my amazing subscribers on Instagram the other day. Her name is Lauren from Leather and Stone, and she was telling me that actually a lot of beginners don't know how to use a creaser itself. There's two sides to it. There's the side that you use as a guide, that you run along the outside of the leather, and there's the part that's actually creasing it. Obviously the gap between the outside and the creasing line changes depending on which creaser you're using. The long side goes along the outside of the leather, and then the creasing line is the shorter side, which sits inside and actually pushes the crease into the leather itself. If you've come from not using a creaser, you will probably have used a wing divider to run I use a 3mm stitching distance from the edge, 3mm from the edge, and then you'll place your pricking iron into that line and you'll hammer it down. I use a French style pricking iron. When you're using a creaser, what I recommend is having your pricking iron just about on the inside of that creasing line. That gives you a really, really nice tight creasing line, and it also gives you another frame of reference, because when you're placing that pricking iron down, you can see where it is all the way along. What I typically recommend is that you crease 3 times. You crease once when you are laying out your line before you've done your edge. You crease a second time after you've stitched it, and you crease a third time after you've painted it, because each time when you are affecting the edge, it will spread the edge out slightly. So I normally crease 3 times. If you're using an electric creaser, make sure that the heat is properly settled into the creasing tip itself because it can take a little bit of time for it to warm up, and if you don't, you'll get an uneven line because the temperature change will make the leather either darker or light as you go down the leather edge. When you're actually creasing, first of all, get a piece of scrap leather and try this on a scrap leather first to gauge how much pressure you need. If you're doing something like a Italian veg tan, you won't need nearly the same amount of pressure than if you're doing something like a glazed crocodile, which has already been highly compressed during the glazing process. So they are two different things that require two different amounts of pressure. When you're going along, make sure that your pressure stays really consistent all the way down the edge. And the reason for that is because you'll see your creasing iron wave essentially with the depth of it and the temperature as you push more temperature into it, because more pressure equals more temperature. If you just tap something hot, it's not as hot as if you hold it really tightly. You want to keep your pressure really consistent going all the way down, testing obviously first with a piece of scrap to see how much pressure you need. So let's say a vegetable tan leather is a lightly tanned leather. You don't need nearly the amount of pressure and heat than if you use something that's a chrome tan leather that's gone through much more of a process. So to get your temperature just right, start with a temperature that you can just about tap, and that should be warm enough for a nice vegetable tan leather. Go up from there, but go up gradually. I don't mean go up starting at 25 and then going up to 50, because that is a massive jump. It's double the heat. You don't need that. Go up in really small increments. If it's too cold, you won't have any definition to the line and it will fade. I promise you that. Always, always, always test your leather first. Now we've creased our leather, we need to prick mark it. We need to hammer those holes in. It's called prick marking, but we're actually going all the way through. It comes from when prick marking was invented during to make saddles. You mark the leather and then you use an awl, but most of us don't use awls anymore. So we're going to use both the creasing line and the wing divider to mark our stitching line, to mark our prick marking line. The consistency of the straightness and parallelity, if that's a word, I don't know if it is, between your edge and your pricking iron will govern how straight your pricking line is, and it is so important that you keep that completely straight all the way along. There's two techniques that you need to do. One is straight line, so you're obviously just going down a straight line. If you have a short journey to go, if the line is very short, think about like the front of a Kelly bag for instance, you want to, instead of pulling it all the way along, because as you push, you're pushing the leather, so you don't push all the way to the edge, you push all the way to about a centimetre away, take your iron off, end of that line and pull it in. Because if you go all the way to the edge of the corner, you will stretch it and you'll get a really skew-whiff corner. So you go 10 mil to the end, take it off, put it down and pull it back in. If you go around the corner, instead of holding it straight down, you want to tilt your iron back, because you're going to use just the back of your iron to go round. Because if you think about going around a corner, if there's a lot of surface area of your iron touching, you can only go around a very long corner. If you go around a short corner, you want to tilt your iron back so that there's not a lot of iron touching it, so you can push it round. It's very simple physics. The most important thing for prick marking is keeping your stitching iron as vertical as you can, completely vertical. And when you're hitting it, take your time. You don't need to go all the way down in one hit. You can go through in several taps of your mallet, because you need to keep those holes, instead of going like that or like that, you want to go straight through the leather, because where you come out is where you'll see it on the other side. When you're going around a curve, obviously you can't use a 10 tooth or a 20 tooth. You have to use something with less teeth to go around the curve for the same reason of the pricking iron. So you want to use a 3 tooth or a 2 tooth depending on how curved that curve is. What I like to do myself is to put the one hole in the previous hole and then do it literally one hole at a time when I'm going around a curve. And this is so that we don't have an uneven spacing of the stitches, because you'll notice it. What I've taught you today are fundamental to high-end luxury leatherwork, to making your piece look as fantastic as it can. they will affect every single part of your bag or your wallet or your card holder, or whatever it is that you're making will be highly affected by these skills. So take your time, practice, practice, practice. Slow down, focus on consistency, and I've said it a million times, but focus on a scrap piece first. We've all made 5 million wallets, and there's a reason we've made 5 million wallets, because it's practice. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, press the bell notification, do all of the YouTubey things. I am back, I am here, and let's build this channel to amazing heights. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time. Have a phenomenal week. Take care.